What's up, you guys? So it's your girl, Owl Eyes. All right, so Simone Biles struggling. I'm your mother, basically. You don't know the backstory. Well, I wouldn't say she gave her kids up to the foster system, but they eventually had to be given up to the foster system due to the fact that she was on drugs and just was not doing well. So I guess that was the next step for them to remove the kids out of the home. And so here comes Shannon Biles, which is her mother's name. Mother and father kind of took over custody of the kids and eventually adopted the kids to try to keep them together. But it became too much trying to take care four kids. And so Simone's grandfather's sister took the two oldest, and the grandfather and the grandmother kept the two youngest, which was her and her sister. And so, in which they eventually enrolled them in gymnastics. And we all know the story from there. Superstar Simone Biles, the most decorated gymnast in history. And so now her mother is reaching out, wanting to make amends. And it always comes to that, I guess in life you finally wake up and realize what's really important and really, start trying to clean up your life as life goes on. But I don't know. I wanted to get you guys' opinion because I don't know. I can look at this from so many different ways. And, I don't want it to be such a touchy subject because that's something she's going to have to decide. That's her mother. And that's going to be between, Simone Biles and her mental health and how she deals with that. Because at the end of the day, like I would say, my opinion, if it was me, I would rather my mother reach out to me because she was the one who gave me up for adoption and couldn't take care of me, not the other way around. I'm the child. So she should be reaching out for one and wanting to have a relationship, with her kids.
If I need to know anything, I call my dad. Hey, Dad, what's going on with Simone? How's everybody doing? He keeps me posted.
So you don't have like a direct number that you can even reach out to her?
I do, but I won't.
Why not?
I want her to reach out to me. She's 27 now. She's married. I would like to have been a part of that, but I just have to wait for her.
I would want my mother to reach out. Who doesn't want to know their biological parents? I mean, there will always be an emptiness there in your life because, even with important events that come up like your wedding and having kids, especially as a woman, having kids, and, I think every child wants to have some type of relationship with their parent. It's just that longing of just wanting that because you grow up, especially kids who grow up with without parents or their parents are not around, they want their parents to be there for them. They want that in their life. That just makes life complete. So I just think that's very important. But on the other note, she don't look at her mother as her actual parent because you want to look at the person who raised you, who you were around all your life. So maybe she doesn't have that long in there. I don't know. Because maybe she does look at her grandmother and grandfather as her actual parents. I mean, they raised her basically. So that is her mom and dad. So maybe she doesn't have that long in there. I don't know. For me, I couldn't imagine a life without knowing my parents, especially my mother. So that would be hard in and of itself. And maybe Simone Biles is over it. I mean, this girl is almost 30 years old, so maybe she's just over it. Who needs you back? Like, yeah, I think when you're a child, you want that more. But as you get older and you're, a grown adult, you don't really need your parents as much or have to depend on them as much. And we know Simone Biles don't have to depend on anybody. The girl is financially set. So, and then there's another thing, I look at it. I remember Tyler Perry, and I always remembered the interview he did, even when talking with Oprah, and this always stuck with me, how he talked about his dad and the type of relationship that they had. And it wasn't a good one, but he did say, at least this one aspect is different from Simone Biles' story. At least his father did provide. He said his father was a good provider, so he did do that, even though, through all of the abuse and everything else. And so he said, you know what? He decided in his heart to forgive his father, and he financially takes care of his father. And I think he bought him a house. And same thing with Oprah. She did the same thing for her mother. And maybe it just goes back to, having that sense of heart, or even just knowing, having some sense of spirituality about the Bible, that, this is the right thing to do. This is my mother. I should want to take care of her. I am financially set to take care of her. And I always, just going back and thinking about Tyler Perry's story, I always think about the verse in the Bible where it says, honor thy father and mother, that your days may be long. Not that your days will be long, but it may be long. So just keeping that aspect in mind in and of itself, and almost saying just do the right thing in a way, in spite of it all, so that you will be blessed because of it. And sometimes, on another note, who has time to be holding all of that anger? That's a lot of work, especially if it comes to family members. Who has time for that? As you get older, you realize, man, I just want to love everybody. It just makes you feel so much freer in life. Nobody has time for that energy. I saw her on the scene at about 2016, and she wasn't that big of a name yet. I think Gabby Douglas is who I was watching more then at that point. But even, in next Olympics by 2020, her name was out there. And her parent or her mother didn't show up then. So it makes me wonder, is she really after money? Because her mother has always probably been struggling, I'm sure. Or is it just that bad now? And now she's feeling like, I want to make amends. But it's not like her mother even reached out 3 years ago. And Simone was a pretty big name. So it makes me wonder, maybe she's just, at that point in her life, just trying to reach out. Maybe she doesn't want anything. And even if Simone Biles decides to have a relationship with her mother, I would just do it on not a case-to-case basis, but just, on her terms, on what she's ready for. Like maybe she only want to have certain conversations. I would just tell my mom, okay, look, this is how I feel. And sometimes I might not want to talk to you. Sometimes, our conversations might be short. Her mother just has to respect that, because, even if she call her mom and be like, hey, mom, they start getting a good relationship, and she calls her and say, ask her certain things. Hey, mom, what you think about this? Or, even about health, because that's a good thing too, to know your parents' health and history of that. And so I have this going on, mom. What you think about that? Have you had that happen in your life? And okay, mom, gotta go. You ain't gotta have no long conversations. Just let your mom know that's what you're comfortable with now. Just day by day and step by step. And as long as her mother don't ask for anything monetarily and show genuine support and wanting to be there, I think they could eventually, overcome what happened.
The fact that this is brought up every 4 years.
I'm over it already. I can't keep dwelling on it. Whenever she's ready, and I'm here. I want her to be able to come to me and say, okay, let's have a sit down, because there's some things I want to know. So I just have to have patience. I want to let her know that I love her. I'm very proud of her, but I'm just still waiting. I would like to sit down and talk to you and answer any questions you may have. I don't know what you've been told, but I want you to hear the real deal.